As tensions between Israel and Iran erupt into open conflict, few analysts are better positioned to unpack its strategic stakes than Dr. Lauren Dagan Amoss, whose expertise bridges Middle Eastern security and the Indo-Pacific power dynamics. Welcome to On Record with TAC. Today we are joined by Dr. Lauren, a political scientist, lecturer at the Bar-Ilan University, and a research fellow with the Begin Sadat Center and the Israel Council on Geostrategy. Her work focuses on India's foreign security, foreign policy, and Israel's strategic relations in Asia and the evolving dynamics of the Indo-Pacific. She was recently selected as a Raisina Young Fellow for her contributions to strategic thought, and today she is here to help us unpack the rapidly escalating conflict between Iran and Israel, its historical roots, and the global implications. Dr. Amoss, welcome and thank you for being here with us.
Namaste. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I would just like to point it out for our viewers. Dr. Lauren is currently located in Israel right now, and she is doing this interview with us. So we are already extremely grateful for her to take this time out. Ma'am, my first question to you is, how would you characterize the shift from covert operations and cyber attacks and assassinations, sabotage, to the current very overt, very out in the open airstrikes and missile warfare? Has June 13th marked a true transformation in how Iran and Israel conduct their conflict?
Thank you. So yes, we clearly seeing a shift from quiet shadow wars to from cyber attacks and target assassinations to overt missile exchange and high-profile strikes. June 13 did not just mark another escalation; it changed the rules in the engagement between Israel and Iran, and also between Iran and all over the world. It's not longer about plausible deniability, but both Iran and Israel are now opening in full daylight. So for the first time, I know it's been in April and September, but this is the moment that we are waiting for almost a decade. So Israel do something that psychology broke the rules because finally they attack Iran. They always talk about it, and Iran always knew about it, about the plan. But so that's why June 13 it's very important date.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so there was a shift, right? Knowing that of course, apart from the April and September, October 2024 attacks, there has been this sort of tussle. Tussle is probably a lighter word to use. This has been going on for a while, and it was building up to this. Ma'am, in this context, based on how current intelligence is, how successful have the Israeli strikes have been in targeting Iran's nuclear infrastructure and command networks? Do you see this as a short-term tactical win or part of a deeper campaign to deconstruct Israel's aggressive systems? I want to correct myself, to deconstruct Iran's aggressive systems?
So I think it's very interesting question and very important. It's still early to assess the full impact, and much work remains. Iran is a vast country, and its nuclear and missile infrastructure is spread across many hidden sites, not just Natanz and Fordo, but also dual-use military facilities and bases even outside Iran. For example, in April, some missile parts were moved to Iraq. Fordo is heavily built for moments like this, but so while some key military sites have been hit, we know that, and even the Iranians admit that, including in Tehran, Iran likely has material and equipment hidden elsewhere. But I think that for us, the civilian, no, everyone told us every day that if Iran attack us, so it's going to be no electric, we're going to be in the shelter all day, it's going to be 2,000 missiles in a day. And as you see, okay, 200 missiles, yeah, right, ballistic, of course, but I'm not in the shelter. I have power now. The IDF, when it see operation for target, they do something to avoid this escalation. So I think also Iran, but also Israel know now that what is the real power between Iran and Israel, even though Iran did not use all the equipment. As I said, it's hide, the sites are all over, it's not in one place. It's very difficult, of course, but I think something in the psychological level, it's break. Something in the psychological level said, okay, we can handle that. Because until now, until June 13, we always think, oh no, to attack Iran, Iran, Hezbollah, Houthis, everyone. But I'm not undermined Iran, but this is the reality. I'm not in the shelter right now.
So a clearer idea of capabilities that Iran has is what has been realized now. And also the psychological break that you mentioned, I think that is very important for a nation to, when it's going through conflict, to have, be together, come together at times like this. Ma'am, I just want to ask you a little bit more on the civilian and the infrastructure impact. Now, Iran's missile strikes on the Soroka hospital and other Israeli civilian facilities. Ma'am, alongside, while Israel is also striking on infrastructure in Tehran and Arak, have raised global concerns. What do these attacks tell us about each side's evolving strategy, their doctrine, their restraint, and also what kind of impact have you felt with these strikes that are happening there? So both like a professional and how your personal experience has been.
So I will start very assertive. Let me be very clear. The attacking Children's Hospital and cancer ill hospital, it is not just immoral, it is war crime. Okay, Iran literally target civilian. Israel, in contrast, strike military instructor tied to active threats under international law. That is not just difference in tactics; it's a difference in values. I know that some of them can say, okay, but IDF is a target hospital in Gaza, but we know that this hospital in Gaza, not very, it's not hospital at all. Hamas doing some very ugly use in the hospitals, civilians, the foreign hospitals that give them by another countries and build in Gaza, but they are not doing for a heal, they are doing for terrorists. And Iran knows our weakness as a democracy country, and she used in civilian targets, and she's trying, they thought that, okay, we will target the Soroka hospital, but as you can see, we are already put all the hills under the ground. We knew about it. We knew that they are going to do such thing, ugly thing, of course. But again, Iran are very smart. They know the international law. They know the narrative about the Israeli, and they know that everyone is going to speak, oh, but IDF do like this. But no, this is a country that are doing in purpose on hospitals, on civilian homes, on civilian sites. In Israel, we are doing only military sites. We are in Tehran, not one house got injured. Not one innocent people got injured, because we are very strike and we know the targets.
Yes, ma'am. The one thing that was noticed is how precise the targets how precise the strikes were that were conducted by the ITF. Ma'am, now just shifting a little bit this towards the nuclear question, because this is something which is almost like addressing the elephant in the room, the bone of contention. Ma'am, to what extent did Iran's accelerated uranium enrichment and rejection of nuclear deal terms set the stage for this war? I mean, how can you narrate like how this build up happened? Was this inevitable as an escalation, and or could it have been handled a little more diplomatically? We saw how the US was also involved. Donald Trump made statements on this, but how do you feel about this shift from how we already addressed covert to overt, but with the nuclear question in mind?
So Iran's accelerated uranium increasement and its refusal to return to GCPOA made this crisis more likely, but was it inevitable? I don't think so. Stronger global diplomacy in 2023 might have slowed things down, but today we are not longer in this situation of negotiation. We are dealing with strategic consensus. I saw this week the Chancellor of Germany said Israel doing the dirty work for the world. And if you ask me personally, I don't think it's Israel's job. I thought that Europe and the United States should do this job, but as you know, we're in 2025, and they did a negotiation, they did sanctions, they did everything in the diplomacy level. We cannot do this anymore. We saw October 7, we saw Hezbollah, we saw the Houthis. If Israel did not do the dirty job, no one will do. And this uranium and the nuclear, it's not going to be on Israel. It's going to be on Europe. It's going to be on the United States, Saudi, Arab Saudi. Arab Saudi and United States are for the Iranian people, they are the devil, not the people. Sorry, I'm not the Iranian people. It's not true. For the Iranian leaders, they are the devil. It's a Shia against Sunni. It's the Americans that help to Arab Saudi. We are okay because we are ally with the United States, so they think about us as the demon. But we are the small demon. The big demon, it's United States. So actually, we it's not a cliche. We are really doing the dirty job for them.
Right. Very strong statements. I completely understandable where this is coming from. Israel having to do the job that would have been US or EU's responsibility. Ma'am, because of, I can truly understand your frustration, and this is why I wanted to talk a little bit about proxy silence and patience. So Hezbollah, the Houthis, and other Iranian-backed actors have held back, not fully held back, but they are not coming together, the way when they talk about the Ummah and all of that. That is not how they are showing support. And ma'am, is this a sign of maybe Iran being cornered or isolated, or are they waiting for an opportunity to open up when they can intervene?
So far, we see Hezbollah and Houthis and others holding back. This could not mean Iran is isolated or that it's simply waiting for the right moment to widen the war. I tend to think this strategic participation, Tehran may prefer to avoid full-scale regional war until it regains initiative. But I also think that Hezbollah and Houthis does not have the same power like they did last year. Hezbollah is almost finished. The Beepers operation in September, it's a big impact. It has a big impact on Hezbollah today, and they understand that Iran, it's not a partner that they can rely on them. As we can see, Syria are thinking different. Syria is not going with Iran, and it needs to say something for us. Okay, so if the natural ally does not go with Iran, something happened. As I mentioned before, This is a big shift, and this is one of the symptoms why it's a big shift and why it's a very strategic issue. That it's the proxy understand that Iran it's not a reliable partner.
Okay. Iran maybe not being a very stable partner. And ma'am, this brings us to alliances and allegiances. US and other the international community, there have been reports that US is weighing strikes on the Fordo nuclear strike, reportedly, a nuclear site, and Trump has also made statements. It's been 3 4 days now about striking Iran directly. How credible is this American threat or direct intervention, and how are global actors, you think, not just EU but also Russia and China, trying to shape and contain this conflict? Or maybe because these are bigger players, how do you see that they want this to pan out?
So, if the U.S. Considering striking the Fordo facility, the signs this is no longer regional war. Publishing a map of U.S. bases, as Iran did, was a warning to the world. China and Russia calling for calm, but it's not surprise. China, this is the agenda. They are not involved in the military aspect. Russia is dealing with the Russia-Ukraine. Doesn't have the ability to do something in this crisis. But they are also watching for opportunities and challenges from US. US leadership, Europe remains divided, unfortunately. So right now we are in dangerous space. The waiting time, it's very complex. I think Trump and US government, they are very reliability. We can trust them, but we need to understand Trump attitude. Trump is coming from an economic world, from business world. And I can understand why he's waiting for the best deal. And for him, Trump wants to win. He wants to get the Nobel Prize. So to go to a war, it's not. He will not get the Nobel Prize that he wants, but he's very, I know, conscience, I don't know to say rational, but it's very complex because it's look that is waiting for the best deal, is waiting for the best change to do good for US. If Israel will win in this situation, it's good for him. But as we can see, is trying to do something is very weird. It's trying to do to show that this operation, this war, it's with US cover, but actually it's very blue and white operation. IDF is doing all this operation from A to Z. But I think this is the time that US need to grab the situation and make a leader, because if she want the day after to be the leader of the world, they need to do something, because otherwise we're going to be in a very strange world that US, it's not the global power. And it's going to be very difficult, not only for Israel, not for Europe, but also in South Asia. All the issue with Taiwan, India and Pakistan, Trump needs to think bigger, not in the Middle East prism.
Right. I think Trump's background in business makes things a lot more different and difficult as well. Also, I think for him, it is a lot about his legacy that he leaves behind as well. Ma'am, this brings me to another question, or rather just I just want your opinion on this. We have been hearing reports about Israel having a shortage of missile interceptors. Now these are reports, and we are from the outside world, we're not really sure as to what is going on. At the same time, IRGC commanders have reportedly killed and internal dissent is rising. How do you assess the pressure on the Iranian regime? But at the same time, there has also been pressure on Israel, when it comes to military and their resources. So, how do you see this turning out in the next few, in the near future?
It's a very difficult question because as academic research, I can always say I'm not a prophet. I cannot see the future, but I think Israel should not do anything about the regime in Iran because it's a domestic issue. And the big problem, as I see that, and I'm not Iranian expert or scholar, the people in Iran does not know really what a democracy life, and I really hope for them, really, from my deepest feeling, I hope that they want democracy, they want a free economy, they want a country that make them not a. I wait. I think the Iranian people does not want to go in the street and to be fear that the police will arrest women. They are not wearing hijab fixedly. They are not talking the right thing. They are not thinking the right thing. So I really wish for them freedom. Really, I don't care if they don't want peace with me. I just want for them peace in the domestic level.
Yeah, a stable Iran will, it will bring stability to the Middle East entirely. Ma'am, also, I think with this, I just want to come quickly to the global, how this has impacted economies, just a little bit, not a lot. Do you think that there will be an economic impact in the future, given how the war is going, the global markets are affected? Iran is a door to a lot of trade. Also, Israel is fighting on multiple fronts right now. It's fighting uh, fighting for its own sovereignty within its boundaries. It's also having to now deal with this external conflict. And how is this affecting Israel's economy? How do you see this affecting maybe the global economy? But more so, if you can, tell us how this is affecting Israel's economy.
So I'm really not doing propaganda, really, okay? But as a civilian, I can tell you that it's very weird to me that we are almost in 2 years war situation, and people are going to work, and people are going to buy things, and it's out from outside. It's looking very strange. They are crazy people. What they're doing in the coffee shops? Why they're buying new dresses and etc. But it's a survivor situation. We are dealing with that, and it's very surprised that the economy it's very strong because it's against and poor, but we are very isolated here in this arena. But in the global arena, we are very connected. So this is why I think it's very good, because we are not the economy situation. It's not dealing. Oh, wow, I forgot the word. We don't need the countries that close to us. We need to do relationship and connection economy with other countries. So this is good for us. For the future, Israel, India, Europe, and US talk about IMEC. IMEC, it's a very important plan. By the way, I want to remember you that Biden and Modi talk about IMEC at September 2023, before October 7th. And I think one of the reasons, maybe if not directly, but I think Sinwar knew that if Israel go to the IMEC and go to do normalization with Saudi, this is what is pushed Sinwar to October 7. And the big winning will be if our Aster judge, of course, will come back home alive, and if Saudi normalization with us relationship, and we will do the IMEC initiative. It's very important, not for the Israeli economy, for the world, for India, of course. Finally, she can come through over the BRI, over Pakistan situation. Finally, Europe see India as an important player in the world, and Israel really, if she go with this initiative, it will be great and amazing. 1 week war, it's not going to ruin our economy, but we need to see what's going to be next. If the Houthis are going to do again a problem with the supply chain and the shipping's era, it's very problematic. But as we can see, for the last year, the economy players know how to get through this situation.
Yes, ma'am. So more globalization, more trade, and doubling down on the IMAC. Ma'am, that just brings us to a little bit on diplomatic mechanism and also the UN. Now, almost every geopolitical expert that I speak to, I have a question on the UN, and mostly it's a resounding answer, but I still want to ask you this as well. Ma'am, what are any of the diplomatic channels left? Is the UN being able to make any difference, any impact, or how do you see this institution on its own right now? Not just given the kind of the way it deals with Middle East, but how it also deals with other conflicts throughout the world, how it deals with, say, Sudan, or how it deals with even the Russia-Ukraine war. So how do you see UN as an institution anymore at all? How do you see, how do you see it as a institution?
You went so back, but you forgot the Operation Sindoor one month ago. When I saw UN dealing with the Operation Sindoor, I said, "Oh my God, someone is kidding on me." Really, I remember that the Pakistan, I don't remember who said it, Pakistan ambassador or the Prime Minister of Pakistan said, I want the UN do a debate about the situation. And it was on Sunday, and the institute was closed. So this is how I think about the UN. UN doing, they're not looking forward. They're not going, they're stick in 1945. They are not see how important that India have the seat in the security level. Africa will be a major player. So in my opinion, I'm sorry, UN cannot do anything. It's very good in the idea, in the ideal aspect, but no, it's not serious. I'm sorry. And I think we're going to be alert in about 10 minutes. Okay, I think let's finish let's try. But if there will be silent, I will go. Okay.
No worries, ma'am. I will just ask you my last question. And ma'am, this is a very long-term view that I want to understand that you may have. In the long run, could this war cement Israeli strategic dominance in the region? Or if not, when do you see maybe some stabilization coming back to the Middle East? And obviously that would mean more safety and security, and where Israel does not feel as insecure as it does. That would be just before we wrap this up.
When the ship will go from Mumbai to Haifa port, I will know that this is the stability situation. This is the really my big dreams come true, because we don't want to rule in the Middle East. We want to be, as you say, important player. We have something, and I'm sorry for the. It's not very diplomatic, but IDF and Israel now have the most. For the last 2 years, we are in war. There is no army in the world that do things that IDF did. Fighting in urban combat war with over 1 million people, fighting with Gaza, Hezbollah, Houthis, Iran, Syria. Not one country in the world have this experience. So I wish, and I really want that the countries in the Indo-Pacific will see us as important, see us as country that said, okay, we can learn from them and we can learn together. I think today, India and Israel should sit together and learn about Operation Sindoor, learn about Gaza, learn about Hezbollah, learn about Houthis, learn about Iran. And it's going to be good for India. And not only in the security level, also in the economy level. As I said before, but we need Japan, we need South Korea, we need the Philippines, we need Australia to realize that there is a country, a democracy country, that, okay, we are fighting, yes, we are in wars, but we think in the same way. Freedom, we think of a free economy, we think about a negotiation, we think about how to do economic business together. So it's not only when there is a war, I need your favor, no, in the UN, but also to speak with each other, to understand and to learn from each other. As I say, Iran, okay, it's not, we are not the enemy of Iran. Iran hates more the Sunni and US more than us. We are like proxy for them, okay? And we are going to be next, because now in India, for me it's more easier to speak about India than Israel. Now in India, you are it's very difficult situation with the Sunni. But the Shia, the extremists, okay, extremes Shia, are now see the head under the water and say, okay, we can do something in India or in Japan or in the Philippines or whatever. I think we need to speak together, because the external Islam, they are here. Iran will not be with a nuclear power day after. But the extremes are going to be here, and we need to deal with them together. It's not only Israel problem, really. It's not only the Jewish problem. It's all the countries that are talking about freedom and democracy.
I think crucial points, that you pointed out as to how democracies are not just connected by one thing, which is diplomatic support, but many things, and fighting extremism is one of them. Ma'am, with this, I will come to the end of this interview. Dr. Lauren, thank you so much for your insights, your analysis. And as the Israel and Iran war and conflict continues to evolve, your perspective helps us cut through a lot of noise and understand the strategic, regional, and even the global implications. We will be watching to see how this crisis unfolds, and we hope to have you back as soon as events develop. This has been On Record with TAC. Stay informed, stay sharp, and until next time, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.